Good. Okay, good, good. I don't want to. Well, okay. This is partial-ish. Okay, hang on now. Let's go through these. Let's go through this. Make sure we're all agreeing with what we're getting. On the first page, did everybody get an average and a standard deviation?
Yes.
What was the average?
470.
470? Standard deviation?
468.
468. Isn't that amazing? They're so close. Crazy, crazy. But that's because they're all over the place. I mean, I've got everywhere from, some of my friends have 5 friends up to 2,000. And this was a random sample of. This wasn't the whole shebang. I mean, there was even more and less. I think my dad, I'm his only friend. So there's 1 in there too. So, sketch and histogram, you guys did a great job. With no thanks to me for making it worse. So thank you for getting the histogram. I love the histograms I'm seeing. They're beautiful. They're beautiful. Backside. This is a very important question right here. Based on that histogram, list one reason you might not want to talk about the average. Carly, go!
Could it be because the data's kind of all over?
All over in what way?
Like really spread apart?
In what, is it uniformly spread apart both ways?
No. It's not a bell curve.
Good, good. Alan, go.
Well, I was just going to say that the standard deviation kind of pulls up the average. It's like, it pretty much could double it.
Good, very good, very good. If you had to subtract the standard deviation from average, you go down to 0 pretty quickly, don't you? But the problem is, when you look, I don't have the histogram here, when you look at the histogram, it's not a bell curve, as Linda just said.
It's all clumped to the left, except a few outliers.
You've got this clump on the left, but then you've got this like dragon tail stretching off to the right. Now, we looked at this before. That's why I was so amazed when I saw this data set. I intended this quiz to be a bell curve data set. And then I looked at the data, I'm like, well, I'll be damned. It's completely skewed. It looks like those house prices from class. Remember the house prices from class? And we decided we shouldn't use the average talking about house prices because why? It's skewed. What happens when you have skewed data? Where does the average go?
Towards the outliers.
Towards the outliers. So if you report the average, you might be giving an unfortunately high estimate of how many friends my friends actually have on average because it gets pulled towards the high numbers. So that's when you go timeout. I can't use Jolene's cool 2/3, 95, 99 point whatever it is anymore. So let's regroup. Recenter, namaste. How about let's look at just those instead of how many friends my friends have, yes or no, do they have more than me? So now this is where I told you, I think, I have 673, boom. Because it tells you that on Facebook, it tells you right at the top how many friends you have. Then I wanted you to go back into this list and figure out what percent of my friends have more friends than me. And you came up with? 22%. 22% have more friends than me. 22. Something out of 60 equals 22%. Pat, you said it was 13, right?
Right.
13 in the sample, out of 60 have more friends, that's 22%. Now, I gave you a little shebang in here, this margin of error deal. Why do you have to put a margin of error onto that sample statistic of 22%? Because it's only, I'm actually answering the last question right now. Why must the margin of error be attached? Because you don't have the whole population. And therefore, you can't say that 22% of my friends have more friends than me because you haven't counted all my friends. You've counted a sample of my friends, yes?
Yes.
So you have to admit that fact and put a plus or minus on it. And now I told you the plus or minus was 10%. So what's going down from 22% would get you down to 12, and going up would get you up to? So the best you can do is say between 12% and 32% of Sean's friends have more friends than him. Now, then I cheated, and I went back and actually looked at all my friends' friends, and it turns out that 24% have more friends than I do. Now, we didn't get 24, we got 22, correct?
Right.
But once you apply the margin of error, is 24 in there?
Yes.
That's the point. Now, the real point is that you'll never be able to go back in and count and get the 24. But you see what just happened? You caught it within your margin of error. That's the power. That's the power of inferential stat. You don't have to actually count the population to get close to the population. I'm sorry that got so hung up on the damn histogram. Other than that, I think it went great. Thank you for helping me. I wrote this thing like 3 days ago, so I appreciate the input. And I'm sorry for the frustration. Add that right into the pile of everything else. Right into the pile. Make sure all your names are on it. Yes, if you did it as a group, just make sure all the names are on it. Thank you guys. We'll see you on thing, barring any natural disasters or skating rink roads. Sorry, I appreciate the input about the bars. We'll keep counting that. Go ahead, Veronica. What do you got?
So does that discount his same man that?
It disproves it.